Hey, good morning, everyone. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me real quick. I didn't hear any sound on that intro, so I want to make sure you got me. Okay, I got a few thumbs up. Great. Welcome. Happy Monday to you. And what a fitting song that we were listening to in kind of the waiting room area there. I'm walking on sunshine. That is truly how I feel today. Really excited. Just got back from Cabo, getting some amazing information from some amazing people, and it was just growth. Just constant growth within me, growth within the people around me. So really coming back at a whole nother level, in regards to my mindset and my business, and it's kind of great that we have this conversation. What we're going to talk about today, which is imposter syndrome. Because again, here it is, a person that really, in myself, that always looks, to have the positive mindset and have the mindset to be able to succeed. And I know that, I know what imposter syndrome is. I know where fear and doubt creeps in. And it was always one of those things for me where I made sure that that was not going to be me. And I can tell you, my wife runs a sales coaching business, and she's has a remarkable business, and it's just growing at leaps and bounds right now, and it's getting her in rooms that she would have never imagined she would be in 5 years ago, where she is the keynote, she is the lead speaker there, and over the past few years, as her business has grown like this, she would say, she's a psychology major, and she would talk about imposter syndrome and how it was creeping in. And I would always look at her like, what are you talking about? I mean, because I know what she brings to the table. And so it was always weird to me that, that she would have that happen. And I thought to myself, that's never going to happen to me. Well, guess what? It did. It came in the form of, and just to give you a little background on me, I'm a real estate agent here in the Denver market, Denver, Colorado. Been in real estate for 24 years, have done real estate at a very high level and had great deal of success on production side, now growing an organization and having success with that. And things are about to change. And this is a change that we knew was coming, that we put in place. And that change is that, I'm going to be moving to San Diego, California. I'll be splitting time between Denver and San Diego. But I will be in a position where I'm away from Denver more than I normally have been. And I'm in a place where I'm not planning to get licensed, and I'm looking to continue to grow my business. And even though I knew for the 3 years that we've been planning to do this, that this day would come, well, the day is here now. And all of a sudden it was like, oh no, can I really do this? Am I, all of these hopes and dreams and goals that I've had for the past 3 years to do this, am I worthy of this? Can I do this? And it was almost a flash of having this conversation with myself. And I reached out to my mentor, Jesse Zagorski, because he's right there in San Diego, and we had a conversation around it. And it took us about 2 or 3 days before we were able to connect. So it put me in a place of trying to work through it myself. And then once I had the conversation with him, it was kind of the cherry on top of really getting myself back centered where I needed to be at. And, again, but it was in that moment for the first time that I realized that this doubt had creeped into my mind of my abilities to do something, where that has always been for me something of I felt like it was a crutch for anyone to have doubt in that sense. But so when I met with Jesse, when we talked, one of the things that he told me is he said, I'm kind of surprised, someone that coaches on mindset, that we're having this conversation. And I said, hey, it happens to the best of us, and things occur that really make you question things. So I knew if it was happening to me, it has to happen to other people. And maybe it happens to other people in a way where they're not able to navigate through it. So I wanted to put this training together to be able to have that conversation around imposter syndrome. So let's talk about the word itself, imposter syndrome. Syndrome, is a word that is usually attached to medical issues, medical illnesses, and things of that nature. But the fact of the matter is, imposter syndrome is not a medical issue. It's more of a mental issue. It's a issue of doubt. It's a issue of confidence or lack thereof in regards to confidence. And it's usually common, surprisingly enough, in high achievers, top producers, people that are striving for big goals. And again, as I started to really kind of look at it and understand that aspect of it, it makes perfect sense. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the high achiever. It could be just someone that has goals and that wants to achieve something. You got to think about it from a standpoint of you are doing something that you've never done before. You're taking your life, you're taking your business, you're taking success to a whole nother level. All right. And that you never experienced. And so that in itself is scary. Anytime we do, the unknown or go into the unknown, it's something that is going to be scary. And you have a choice. You can either stop and not do it, or you can push forward and do it anyway, even though you have the fear, even though you have the doubt, you do it anyway. And that's where but it's in that moment of feeling like, am I worthy of this? Is this something that I really should be doing? What makes me think that I can achieve this goal or whatever it is that I'm trying to do? Um, though all of those questions are, that self-doubt creeping in and creating this imposter syndrome for yourself. So, when you understand the signs of it, then it starts to help you to be able to come to the remedy of resolving it. And so what I wanted to share with you is, just some of the signs that you would experience and some of the signs that I experienced. One of them, feeling like a fraud, feeling like, what you've done is not necessarily worthy of taking it to another level. Even though you have evidence of success, even though you have accomplished things, you're now pushing yourself to a new level where you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't know if this is really something that I should be doing. Fear of being found out. So again, if you're feeling like a fraud, now you're having this fear of being found out in your mind, of thinking that everyone else is going to see you as a fraud, and thinking that, again, that you don't deserve the position that you're currently in. And so once again, all of these things are just that doubt that creeps in. And I'm going to talk about one of the books that really got me to overcome fear and doubt and understanding what it truly is, from a biblical aspect. I'll share that with you in just a minute. Um, One of the other aspects is when you're avoiding new challenges because of fear of failure. Again, this is where you stifle, you put yourself in a position where you're like, I'm stopping right here, because if I go any further, I may fail, and I don't want to fail, because then I'm just feeding into the whole thoughts of the doubt. And one of the things you have to realize with failure, I always say this, that when we go to the gym to work out and you're lifting weights, your goal in the gym when you're doing that is to take your muscles to what we call muscle failure. So the goal is to make your muscles fail, because why? Because when you've done that, you have broken the muscle down, and then as you're eating the right foods and taking the right nutrients, you're building the muscle up. You're making it stronger. So if you look at it in life and business and relationships, whatever it is, that again, failure is a good thing, just like it is when we're in the gym. And in some instances, you are going to have to fail to get better. You're going to have to fail to get stronger. You're going to have to fail to build that muscle of confidence in yourself. So really understanding those signs. And like I said, one of my favorite books, just to kind of give you something, if you've never read this book before, it's on Audible as well. I actually suggest the Audible, and I'll tell you why in here in just a second. But it's called Outwitting the Devil. And Outwitting the Devil was written by Napoleon Hill. It wasn't actually released until, I believe, 2008. He died in 1970. But this book there was so many concerns about the controversy around this book because it was basically Napoleon Hill having a conversation with the devil, and they made an agreement that the devil had to answer all of his questions. Any question that he has, he had to honestly answer the question. And in the very beginning, the first 5 minutes of the book, the devil says, "I'll answer all of your questions, but you have to do one thing for me. You have to, you know, call me your majesty. You have to address me as your majesty." And Napoleon Hill asked him, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because I am the ruler of this world, and I rule through one thing, fear, or two things, fear and doubt." And when I understood that, and I went through the rest of the book and understood, the devil at work in our lives, I realized, okay, when I'm in those moments of having doubt in myself, when I'm in those moments of being fearful of moving forward, I'm allowing the devil inside. So it's a different mindset that I take on. Because it now puts me in a position where I'm like, okay, I know what's happening here. And that has been very beneficial in helping me to move forward when it comes to fear and doubt. So highly suggest reading that. If you listen to the Audible, they do an excellent job on the voices of the person that's Napoleon Hill and the voice of the devil. Sounds very demonic. It really draws you in, and you're listening, and the information that he shares in regards to how he operates in this world. I mean, you start to believe you're actually listening to the devil. And I think it's one of the most amazing pieces of literature I think that have ever been written, just because of how it was written. So I highly suggest taking a look at that. So let's get into again the truth about success and confidence. So, confidence isn't the absence of doubt; it's the ability to move forward despite having that doubt. It's kind of you've heard, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the ability to move forward even despite the fear. So much is the same for confidence. And as I mentioned a minute ago, confidence is a muscle. It has to be strengthened. It has to be worked out. It cannot be strengthened if we don't face those things that we have doubt in. And I want you to think of it from a standpoint of, again, if you have this thing, this goal, this dream that you're trying to achieve, and in those moments, the doubt creeps in, but you push forward and you do it anyway. You go through beyond the doubt and get to the other side of the doubt and realize, wait a minute, man, I did what I thought I couldn't do. I did what I had doubt that I could even achieve. You just got stronger. And now you no longer will ever have that doubt of being able to do whatever it is you just achieved, doing it again and again and again. So there's levels to your growth, in this. One of the things I've always, growing up in the Atari and the Sega Genesis era, I've always looked at life to a certain degree like a video game, where when you're playing a game where, in order to get to the next level, in order to complete the full game, you have to go through these levels, but you first have to master the level that you're at here before it'll let you go to the next level, and so forth as you continue to go through the game. And they still make video games like that, where I've heard of people finishing the entire game in the course of a 24 36 hour period, where some people may take months, some people may take years to be able to do so. And it comes down to, once again, being able to master this level and take it to the next. Um, it's no different in life. If you think from a standpoint of when you're trying to achieve a certain goal, when you achieve, you achieve a goal at a certain level, it only makes sense that you're supposed to go up. You're not supposed to stay at that same level. We were not built as humans to really dive into our own greatness by staying on the same level. We're supposed to level up at every standpoint in life. And that's how I had to look at, okay, this thing that just gave me imposter syndrome, this is life telling me, hey, here's the next challenge. Here is the next level in your life that you must achieve because you have much bigger dreams than just going to San Diego and making an impact there. You're trying to do something on a much larger scale, but we got to start with San Diego. We got to start with taking you out of your comfort zone of Denver, Colorado, and the connections that you have here and all the things that you've been able to do here, put you in an entirely different environment where you don't really know a whole lot of people, and we need to show you how to thrive in that market. And if you can do it there, you will be able to do it anywhere. So that was literally the mindset that I had to take on, for myself. So we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the areas of how, and I've kind of talked about it, how I've done it for myself. One of them, like I'm saying, is reframing my thoughts instead of, being in this position of saying, can I succeed in California? I had to ask, how can I leverage my skills to dominate in that market? And one of the things I want to mention about dominate, if you were on the very first Monday mindset that I did, I talked about my word of the year, and it was dominate. So I had to go back to my word of the year and say, okay, not only do I need to succeed, no, I need to dominate. I needed to get back on task. So I had to reframe all of my thinking from this place of having doubt and concerns about my ability to take this next level to taking over on this next level. So really, I want you to be able to reframe your thoughts and make shifts in your perspective of how you see things. Owning your own success and collect evidence. And so again, to be where you are right now in life, you've had some levels of success. So we have to own that. And once again, know that, okay, I've been successful at this point, and the skill set that I have now, the things that I've done in this time frame, have prepared me for the next level. I always tell people, 26 years in law enforcement, my time as a Gulf War veteran, I was a sergeant, supervisor at 22 years old on the battlefield, and the from a leadership standpoint, from a thinking on your feet, from the critical thinking aspect of things, all of those attributes that I learned and the muscles that were developed mentally in the military and as a police officer, I brought those over into real estate, and they helped me uh, immensely to grow my business. And what I've learned over the last, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years as a real estate agent have helped me immensely to now go to another level. So always, own your success, own the things that you have been successful with, and keep evidence of it. You have awards, you have people that look up to you. You have areas of success that you've achieved that sometimes we don't even give ourselves credit for, but you have to be able to recognize, in order to go where you're going, you have to remember where you came from and then where you're at right now. There is going to be a difference between those two. All right. And then we're going to talk about, once again, it all comes down to action, taking bold action. That's where, again, facing those doubts, facing those fears. And even though it's scary, you go ahead and you do it anyway. And that's where confidence is going to be built. That's where, again, you're strengthening that muscle. So what I want to leave you with here is two things. We got a video at the end that I think really I could have honestly just played that video and we would have been done. It's 1 minute and 24 seconds. And when you see this video and you understand it, I guarantee you, you're going to be doing this power pose that I'm going to show you here in just a second. But I want to give you five tactics to be able to counteract imposter syndrome. The first one I kind of talked about reframing negative thoughts. Again, taking those negative thoughts and putting them in a position of, no, it's not I can't, it's I can. Or how, is it going to be, how am I going to take my current skill set and use it to get better? So being able to reframe your thinking and challenge the limiting belief by replacing them with empowering ones. Keeping a success journal. I talked about keeping the evidence. Keep a success journal. Write down the wins. This is something you should be doing on a daily basis, just in regards to the small wins, the small victories throughout the course of your day. This is going to reinforce your capabilities and your worth and your ability to be able to achieve and dominate. As I mentioned before, being able to be successful in those areas. Adopting a growth mindset. There's the growth mindset, and then there's the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset is that mindset that says, um, I can't, I can't, I'm not worthy of that. The fixed mindset was me saying, I can't go into this new market where I don't have a license and I don't know a whole lot of people and be successful. But the growth mindset is asking yourself, okay, how can I take, once again, my current skill set and put it into action over here? And once I adopted that mindset, I told myself, okay, I don't have to get licensed, but I'm going to still sell real estate in California because I'm with the company that allows me to sell real estate all over in all over the country and in 25, 24 different countries or right now. And I realized, wait a minute, I've been selling real estate all over the country from Denver. I've sold real estate multiple times in Texas, multiple times in Maryland, multiple times in Florida. Why can't I go to California and sell real estate in the state that I'm in without a license? I've been doing it anyway. So again, it was opening my mind to the skill set that was already in place. As a matter of fact, we're closing on a house that we're purchasing April 4th, and I'm getting 50% of the commission. I worked out a deal with the agent that we hired to pay me 50% of the commission because we found the house and he's agreed to it. So I'm already making money in California. So just understanding that, again, adopting the growth mindset and releasing that fixed mindset. And when you see it creeping in, knowing going back to outwitting the devil, knowing what's working in your life at that point. And then another one, separate your feelings from the facts. So there's a quote that my wife often says is confidence is not a feeling, it's an action. And again, I think a lot of us do look at confidence as a feeling or an emotion. But confidence is it's going back to what I said earlier. It's that, the not the absence of doubt, but pushing forward despite the doubt. And it's a building of a muscle. And it's only way you can do that is by recognizing the doubt and then doing it anyway, pushing forward through that doubt anyway. And then the last one I want to share with you, and this was kind of the icing on the cake for me when I was going through this a couple of weeks ago, is share your feelings. And you don't share these feelings with just anyone. You share it with, a trusted friend or a close family member or a mentor or a coach. So I shared it with two people. I shared it with my wife and I shared it with my mentor, Jesse Zagorski. And through those conversations, even though I was working through it myself, by the time I had both of those conversations, it was completely done. It was over. I was no longer in that place. And I was super excited about what was coming instead of having any type of fear or doubt around it. And this is the funny thing that happened. This was probably 3 weeks ago that I was going through this, and then I worked through it in a matter of a few days. And literally, after I had the conversation with Jesse, it was a matter of a couple of days that this property that we ended up putting a contract on, we're 5 months ahead of schedule. We were supposed to be purchasing sometime in the summer. We're 5 months ahead of schedule, but a property came up that we were like, okay, they've only come up every 3 to 4 years in this neighborhood. So we got to jump on this. The price was amazing. The square footage for what we're looking for was right where we needed it to be at. We were settling. We were going to have to settle based off of the price point in California and what we were going to be able to get square footage wise. We were going to have to settle for 1,000 square feet less. But this property came up, and it was like, and it was truly a sign from God for me of, okay, now that you're ready, let's put it to work. Let me see how ready you truly are. Are you guys gonna pull the trigger on this, or are you gonna make an excuse and not move? Are you gonna let doubt creep in and keep you from jumping on this? And we jumped, so quickly. I mean, we flew on we didn't even, we put a contract on it without even seeing the property, flew out the following weekend to do the inspection. It checked all the boxes, and I mean, now we're in a place of just being super excited. So, I go from a person that about a month or so ago was having this fear, this doubt, this imposter syndrome, and to a person that's super excited about this journey and going into a whole nother adventure of life. And that's what, again, facing those doubts will do for you to bring you to the dreams and the goals that you've been wanting to achieve. Okay, so two things real quick, and then I want to show this video. I want to talk about power postures real quick. My wife, again, being a psychology major and a sales coach, she teaches at a high level, typically C-suite, executives. She'll teach, to high-end sales other sales coaches, as well as the top tier of sales people in their company. And one of the things she talks about quite a bit is a power pose. And some of you have probably heard of the Superman pose, and it's where it's a Superman or the Wonder Woman pose, and it's where your hands are on your hips, your chest is out, your chin is not high, but just up, towards the straight up where your head is up, and you stand in that position for about 2 minutes. This is something that she does before she goes onto the stage to speak. She takes the power pose for 2 minutes, and there's a little bit of a meditation of, visualization of what she's going to be speaking on. If she goes into a big meeting with, a new client that she's trying to bring on, she goes into this power pose. And it's something that, since I've had this I've never done it before, but since I went through this imposter syndrome episode about a month ago, I've started implementing a power pose. Another one that you can do is by firmly placing your feet, on the ground, standing straight up, and then just putting your hands up in kind of a V formation, and then taking deep breaths in and out while holding that position. And you do that for about 2 minutes. Once again, no one in this position shows any evidence of doubt, of fear. That is all confident. That is victory that you're saying that you're taking on victory for the day. And that's something that I also do throughout the course of the day. Just depending. I'll be honest with you, I did it before I got on with you guys. Again, it's one of those things that sets the tone for your thinking and your mindset. So I wanted to share those with you. Hopefully, that's something that you guys can put to use. Again, finding that thing that gives you confidence to move on. And it showed you her seeing herself as that little girl that was not worthy and that was not able to do certain things. And going through that pose, and she was ready. I can't remember what meeting she was going into, but she left ready to go into that meeting. So definitely grab the link, take a look at it so you can actually hear the audio. And like I said, I think that is one of the best methods of really uh, moving doubt from your thinking, just like that. with taking a power pose and then reframing your thoughts around everything. I know we went a little bit over, but I definitely appreciate all of your time today. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.
May I mention one thing, Barry?
Sure.
So the post I put in the beginning of the chat, your picture's on it because I was trying to download the attachment while you were on the phone. But so when you were talking about, I mean, outside of positive affirmations and all that kind of stuff, this was a document that I wrote of all these compliments I received over the years from specifically related job stuff, prior to real estate, even advertising, all that stuff. And, I think hanging this on your wall, or you having something like this where you hang on your wall, like when you talk about your wins and all that kind of stuff, is like if you're feeling down or whatever it is, which I've had my moments, is you've got this on your wall and it kind of refires me back up.
I like that. I think of that. One of the things that I have a group that I coach on Friday mornings, and we talk about affirmations. And I have my affirmations recorded, and I listen to
Right.
them every morning. But this is almost not the reverse, but it's another level to that, because these are things that people are saying about you versus you saying, your affirmations to yourself, which I think is also powerful. So I agree. I think it's a great tool. I hope that you're listening to or reading that on a daily basis for yourself as well, because I can definitely see how doing that, if you're in a bad spot, you take that thing out and you read all the way through it. You can't get through the end of that and still be in that same place. So thanks for sharing that, Chad. That's awesome.
Yep.
Do you mind if I say something real quick, Barry?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say thank you so much for sharing that, because I have done that before. I've gone to Tony Robbins' conference. I walked on fire and I've done that power pose, and it really changes the entire mentality that you have going forward from that moment on, whether it's speaking or going into a meeting and sharing something or whatever it is. It changes your entire I don't know, emotional standpoint, mental, physical. It's powerful. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I mean it's a physiological as well as a psychological thing that's happening in that moment that puts you in an entirely different place. So I agree. Use it, and if any of you do what Rebecca did on the video, record that and send it to me, because I would love to see that. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you for being here.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.